Okay, middle school parents, high school parents, I'm gonna teach you the secret passcode at the end of the video. I'm just kidding. There's not a secret passcode. But we are going to be talking about adolescents with their social development, emotional development, and some challenges along the way that you may face, and also what they're gonna face. You're both gonna have challenges. I don't know which one's more, but we're just gonna talk about it all. The first thing that I am gonna talk about is what you are going to expect when you run across these things as a parent, and how you can support them as a parent or even a mentor when they're going through these things. I'm also going to touch on some tips for parents and mentors of adolescents that have special needs, disabilities, because they go through it too. With that being said, I also like to remind all of us that we are a part of God's creation, and even though it doesn't seem like things are going perfect, you gotta remember that we are fallen and flawed, but the design that God created is perfect for the purpose that it was designed for. My name is Leilani. I am a former public and private school teacher. I actually taught middle school, and I absolutely loved it. But now I am teaching middle school at home because I homeschool my 4 beautiful kids. I have a 13-year-old, an 11-year-old, a 9-year-old, and a 6-year-old. The 6-year-old does have Down syndrome, and we also have ADHD in the family. It's a journey. A wonderful journey, to say that. So on this channel, Living with Eve, we share encouragement, tips, support. We share a little bit about our lives, what we go through as homeschool parents, therapies, all those things. And if you're interested in learning more about all of that, you can subscribe to our channel. I also have a website that you guys should check out with some resources and a monthly newsletter that I put out that I would love for you guys to subscribe to. All of this information is found in the description box below because I have some really cool, exciting things that are happening. And let me get started with what we're going to talk about here. So let's talk about some things that you might expect with your adolescence. And of course, mood and emotional changes and challenges. There's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be a lot of crying. There's going to be happy moments, sad moments, just this huge, it's a wave of emotions that happen. When I was teaching in middle school, what we used to say, just ride the wave. As a teacher, you gotta just go with the flow, literally and figuratively. And sometimes with these high emotions, us as adults don't always know how to respond. And so one of the things I always suggest is to just kind of be that strong person in their life and let them know that you're there. But honestly, sometimes you just need to wait it out. Like if they're really, really angry, as long as they're not hurting anyone, just letting them go get over their anger fit and then have a conversation with you. Because when they're in that moment, they can't comprehend, their brain cannot comprehend any kind of feedback unless it's what they want at that moment. Of course, after it's done, after everything is said and done and the anger fit is calmed down and, whether they're crying and they've calmed down, you can now have a moment, a touching, loving moment to help guide them and direct them on what happened that didn't work out in their favor and what they can do next time. But do it in a loving way. One of the things that I have learned with some kids that are in a range, especially if they have some sensory processing things going on, ADHD going on, deep hug squeezes. Sometimes just having that feeling of stability helps them. So that's a little technique that I have learned. Very, very helpful. Some people just want to handle a touch on the shoulder or a rub on the back, or just very soft words saying, I'm here, are you okay? Remember, we are the adult in the situation and we are a role model, and they are watching how we respond, and they're learning how they need to respond to their own emotions as they're growing and changing. It's all new for them. Everything's new for them. They've never had these before, and they're exploring them, and they're not even like it's not like an ease into things. It's like here it is. Like it just explodes. And can you remember when that happened? I don't, because I kind of blacked out at that age. I don't remember anything. Well, a little bit, but it was a high intensity and lots of new things. So you need to show them how to respond in those moments when those things happen. Also keep in mind that at this age, because of all of this, they are feeling very self-conscious. They're becoming aware of who they are, what they look like, and they're also very sensitive. And it's just another reason for you to be stronger in who you are as a parent. Very strong, very centered, very focused. Nothing's phasing you because they're all phased and wigged out, so they can cling to you and learn how to do things right. That's why they have parents. That's why they're still minors and don't have a driver's license if they're under the age of 16. You, the parent, have had time to get stable. Most of us are in our 30s. Some of us are in our 40s. But you've had that chance to get stable, to understand how to respond to your emotions. And of course, if you're not going through menopause, your emotions are not all over the place, hopefully. Their brain is literally changing. Literally changing. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the adolescent's brain. I do have another video where I talk about the middle school brain, and I go into some other stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and link that in the description box below. I'll try to put it up in the cards right now. But let's right now dive into a little bit of adolescent's brain. There is a lot going on in the brain. It's essentially remodeling and pruning. When I say by pruning, think of a tree, right? What happens to a tree when it gets to be pruned? All the things that it doesn't need are being cut off and thrown away. However, the things that are being used are going to strengthen, and even though that tree looks awkward and puny and weak and kind of pathetic during the pruning stages, they will flourish when they come out of it. But that's if the roots are deep and strong and well taken care of. And that's where you, the parent, comes in. Whether it's through that love, that care, that support, that strength. Also, nutrition plays a part in it as well. So the last part of the brain to develop is that prefrontal cortex. This part right here. And this thing right here plays a part in their decision-making skills. Make sense yet? It also plays a part in planning, empathy, understanding consequences, controlling emotions, impulses, judging. It makes up 17% of your brain, and surprise, surprise, boys develop a lot slower than girls. They develop this thing a lot slower than girls. That's why boys tend to do some crazy things in their 20s, because it's not fully developed. But see, here's the thing. Because that prefrontal cortex is kind of taking its time, that adolescence kid is relying on the amygdala to make decisions. Do you know what the amygdala does? So it's associated with emotion, impulses, aggression, and what's usually out of control at that age, because something happens and they make a decision based on those things. Another reason why they need parents to be guiding them at this age. I mean, they tend to choose those high-risk activities, be super emotional about things, base decisions on emotion and not logic. So do you see why they need us? We're kind of like their prefrontal cortex until they can develop their own. And meanwhile, we're giving them guidelines, strong foundations, biblical foundations. We're teaching them how to think logically, so they're not basing their decisions on emotions and impulses and aggression. They're having a chance to step away from those emotions and make decisions based on scripture and based in logic. That's what we should be doing to train our children. We are their prefrontal cortex. So we need also to lay some strong boundaries for them. We lay down that road, but then we got to put a fence up, because we don't want them straying back and forth, but we've got to put that fence up. In fact, a child that is going through adolescence, a teen that is going through adolescence, is going to feel more secure knowing that there is a fence blocking them off. They are completely aware that their emotions and their aggression is totally out of whack. But when they know that there's a parent, a mentor, an adult that's putting those boundaries there, they find so much freedom in that. I know that sounds kind of weird, but they really do, because they know that they're safe in the environment. And sometimes they feel a little bit too safe, where they start to take out their aggression and anger out on you, or pour out their emotions and sadness in front of you, because they know that you are not going to let them go past certain things. They trust you. Now, of course, setting those boundaries for them as a parent is also going to teach them self-control. Yeah, because they are watching you and modeling you, and they're going to mimic. what they know. That's self-control. That control is going to turn into their self-control because they're familiar with it and they're comfortable with it and they trust you. Also important to note that those things, those boundaries that you set up, that firm foundation, the logic that you teach them, the scriptures that you teach them, all of that is getting hardwired into their brain at this age. Yes, this is the age, like I said before, you're pruning things that they don't use, but you're making it stronger. It is being hardwired into their little brains. It's going to stick with them for life. Okay, so what are some other things that you may see? Let's talk about some social development. Let's talk about their friendships. They're going to want to spend time with their friends, and they're not going to want to spend time with you. That's because they're becoming more aware of other people and how they feel towards other people. They're becoming aware of friendships, the importance of friendships and community, and they're wanting to become a little more independent from you, and that is totally okay. It's actually a very good thing that they're doing that. If they weren't doing that, you should be a little bit concerned, but they should be exploring people, friends, outside of your home. They're also going to form different opinions than you. Once again, they're trying to separate themselves from you to be more independent. They're also trying to test you. They love doing that. They're testing you again to see how serious you are about those boundaries that you set up. They're also testing to see how firm your faith is, to see if they can make mom's faith jiggle a little bit. Maybe it's not that strong. And they're questioning things at this age. They're exploring things mentally and physically, but they're also becoming more and more aware of those boundaries that are set up. They're going to argue with you a lot. They're trying to find their identity in who they are. They're thinking more abstractly. They're building critical thinking skills. They're questioning things, but they're not always seeing how their actions can affect other people around them or themselves. They're not always recognizing the words that they say can hurt people and hinder people. They're not seeing that effect yet. So they say some pretty mean things to each other and to you. But there is good news. There's good news, and there's actually studies on this, that parents affect a child, adolescents, long-term in these areas, while friends only affect them short-term. So you have more of a lasting effect on them. So parents, mentors, don't give up. Don't give in. Don't take that ticket on that roller coaster and ride along with them. Be that strong, firm, planted tree. But be there for them, because quite frankly, adolescence is way harder and they need you more than those younger kids. Seriously, they need you more emotionally, they need you more socially, they need you more. So parents, don't give up on your kids. Be strong, because they're watching every decision you make and everything that you do, and they're learning how to be little people based on you. You will be stretched, and you're going to have lots and lots of conversations where they're going to talk. Mostly the girls. Boys do too, or boys don't. I mean, it depends on the kid. But don't be afraid to talk to them, and don't let them hide away. Watch their video game plays. You know, watch them talk about what color hair they want to have next. Help them get their nails done. You know, all these little things, be a part of their life. And do it the way you do it, and they just follow along. You don't have to boss them around. You don't have to tell them what to do. You do want to set the boundaries, but be you in front of them, who you actually are, and be transparent. Don't be afraid to apologize when you find yourself making mistakes, because they need to learn how to be humble and apologize and recognize that they too will also make mistakes and what to do when they make mistakes. They are mirroring you in a sense. And they're going to grow up and become adults. And when they have kids, they're going to go, wow, I'm just like my parents. Now take the time to be that strong parent. I mean, I always think of middle school and adolescence as like your second chance, right? A lot of people think that they messed up their kids, right? Have you ever thought that? Because I sometimes think that. I think we all do. But no, seriously, you think that you messed up your kid, right? And then you don't get a second chance, and you've ruined them for life, and you're so busy like drowning in your emotions that you fail to recognize that when they're in middle school and adolescence, you get that second chance. And you need to take the bull by the horns and go with it. But be that strong person. Be that role model. You also want to talk openly about relationships. Yep. And you also want to embrace teachable moments, because they're going to happen. And you want to embrace them and not be afraid to address them. Now, I did have a friend, still a friend. She's still a friend. And she taught me something that I thought was extremely valuable. And I'm going to share that with you right now. She was very open about all of these things with her kids from a very young age. A lot younger than a lot of us would think. But she didn't go into detail or anything like that. But she just was just open about the idea, about unity between a husband and wife. And it was just a casual thing that she talked about. She didn't make a big deal out of it. I think our culture today makes such a big deal about that kind of stuff that people hide it. They hide it from their family, from their kids. They don't talk about it. And then that's when people get in trouble. So I want to encourage you, maybe you're not going to talk openly about it like as you're walking down the street, but be open to it with those teachable moments. And not be afraid to talk about it. But always when you're talking about it, remember to be rooted in Scripture. Because, that's going to really help guide us and direct us in the proper way to handle situations like this. In Scripture, everything is going to teach us the proper way to handle every little situation. And so once again, that's that road, that foundation that you're laying for your kids at this age. So it's great having a middle school adolescence kid. I love it. It's fun. I encourage you to have fun with it too. So get down there, get a game controller and play right along with them and talk about lots of things, about the mall. Do we go to the mall anymore? I don't think we do. Talk about TikTok. Do a TikTok video with them or something. I don't know. The point is that enjoy this chance that you get to spend with them, because this, I think, honestly, is one of the most important times in their lives. They're watching you be you, and they're learning from you how to be a little person. A big person, an adult. So thank you guys for watching this video. Go ahead and check out some of my other videos with middle schoolers. And if you're homeschooling, I got tons of homeschool videos. So you can check any of those out. And until then, hopefully I'll get to see you guys around. Thank you so much. Bye.